Hi, I'm Macy Howland.
And I'm Andrew Short.
And Alfredo Valiero was in our group too.
For our project, we decided to do an interview of a few different guys from multiple Spanish-speaking countries to get first-hand answers about their opinions and experiences in coming to America.
So here are the guys.
My Peruvian name is Andres Fabian Espinosa Calderon Dorado Torrebrero, but people here call me Andy Espinosa.
Oscar Vasquez.
My name is Flavio.
Marcos Diaz Martinez Espaillat.
I am from Lima, Peru.
I'm from Honduras.
I'm from Brazil.
I'm from the Dominican Republic.
In class, we focused a lot on how Latino culture and American culture can be very different at times. Moving from a Spanish-speaking country to a place like America can be especially difficult on kids.
We asked our interviewees to talk a little bit about their childhood, the biggest differences in cultures, and then about the hardest part about coming to America.
My childhood involved me traveling a lot through South America.
Pretty normal, like just like anyone's childhood in the U.S., like pretty normal.
Just like the same as any kind of childhood anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah, it was very family oriented.
One major difference between my home country and here is that there's a lot of distance between places here compared to there. It's all like close together as opposed to here. The main differences I noticed at first were just like there weren't a lot of like Hispanic people in school anymore.
Well, since Michigan is so high in the U.S., like it was like different, like the people here, and I don't know, like the weather, obviously, and just food and stuff in general.
Pretty much like how we like introduce ourselves. Like back home, we just like when a girl, you give to a kiss and the chick, you know, like and he was kind of awkward not doing it, and like shaking hands and with the guys, of course, but
Yeah.
just pretty much that was like very awkward at the beginning.
Language barriers.
Next topic we asked about was immigration. This included the journey to America when they came and whether they felt welcomed or not. In class, we learned that many immigrants don't feel welcomed when they come to America. For example, since the Texas annexation, Mexicans in the area have been heavily discriminated against.
Jovita Gonzalez's book, Life Along the Border, talks about social Darwinism in the 1900s, where whites are on top simply because they are white. The rhetoric of dominance throughout history has taught Americans that their social standards, where whites are superior, is acceptable. We were interested to see if this was true with Latinos here in Michigan, specifically at the university, which is a lot farther away from the borderlands than Texas.
I came to America in 3rd grade. The journey was a long airplane ride from Peru to Florida, from Florida to Troy.
I traveled before, but to live until college, like 3 years ago. Since I had already been here before, it wasn't that bad, and I already knew the language, so it was pretty easy.
I came here for the first time to live when I was 16 years old for an exchange program in Ohio, and that's how I learned English. I mean, at the beginning, it was just like differences in culture, but like afterwards, I just got used to it. It was not that bad.
When I was 10 years old, it was like any other journey on an airplane.
America is very welcoming to immigrants.
Yeah, like I haven't had any trouble at all.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Depends, yeah, I guess so. I mean, it depends, like, for example, if you're coming here to study, or if you're coming here to, like, other things, you know, like, if you're, like, a legal immigrant, I think you're welcome.
I do believe that America is welcoming to immigrants.
Another topic we spent time discussing with our interviewees was assimilation.
We asked about the hardest thing about adjusting to America, if they consider themselves Americans, and what would make it easier for kids to adjust in America.
We thought about the part on assimilation and how it was particularly important because it was a focus on many of the issues that we covered in class.
Linda Chavez advocated for assimilation, and the counter to assimilation that the Young Lords Party was that their Plan de Aztlán, which tried to promote education relative to their culture and valuing their identity.
The hardest part of adjusting was just learning the language.
The hardest part was pretty much my, like, getting, like, my group of friends, like, freshman year, like, really knowing, like, who I was going to spend, like, the rest of college life with, you know?
The language, when I was in Ohio, but in Michigan, it was not hard at all. It was pretty easy. But being away from your family, your childhood friends and everything.
Again, language barrier.
I definitely feel fully American.
No.
I'm very patriotic about Brazil. So like Brazilian people tend to be like very Brazilian, saying like everything, be more proud of your country than anything else. But
Yes, I do believe I am American citizen.
Adjusting to America for kids would probably just learn the language beforehand, or just come with an open mind about people.
For kids, I think it'd be easier if they know where they're going and if they knew like the language. I think that's like one of the most important things.
probably explaining the differences in culture when you like and a foreigner, like if like these schools explain the difference, like okay, that's how American culture is, and, like, just the people like I wouldn't have to figure out by themselves like I did. So.
Yeah, it's making sure that the kids have an understanding of the English language.
We want to know what the interviewees thought about the term Latino. In class discussions, it was clear that the term Latino can be very ambiguous.
Latino can mean physical traits, different traditions and cultures, different language, being a minority, being of Spanish-speaking descent, or simply being from Latin America. Here's what they had to say.
It means I can speak Spanish. And I'm tan.
I don't know, not much, but just like being really passionate about like things you do. I don't know, your friends, just things in general. Your soccer team. Every Latino has like their soccer team. Things in general.
All the Latin countries, we like soccer more than both any other sport. So, and also, I don't know, we're like very, very spontaneous. We don't like follow the rules.
A unification of my people.
I'm Honduran first, Latino second.
As a Brazilian, I mean, like, of course, we consider Latin, but we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuguese. So, I don't know. As a kid, that just like, can't wait to graduate and start working instead. Much better than stuff.
I'm first Dominican, then Latino, then American.
After filming our interviews, we learned that the term Latino is not as ambiguous as we thought. It doesn't necessarily mean a lot to our interviewees.
Assimilation wasn't as hard as long as they knew the language. Weather seemed to be the biggest difference for them as well.
They all felt welcome to America as immigrants, but mainly because they are students, as opposed to those coming for work.
Assimilation wasn't as hard as long as they knew the language. The weather also seemed to be the biggest difference for them.
Go blue.
Was
Awesome. As long as they, cool.
Why are you laughing? You're not even talking.
It was hard as long as they knew the language. Assimilation wasn't as shoot. Assimilation wasn't as hard. First, progressive, and accepting of all kinds of people. So close.